Hi there, everybody. My name is Kelly Barner, and I will be your host and moderator for today's Art of Procurement webinar. This is an unusual event. We're hosting this very early morning Eastern time so that all of our friends from Europe can easily join the event. So I'm glad to be starting my day with you, but I'm glad you've made time in your afternoon to be with us. Now, today's event is a really interesting one because this is effectively going to be a live discussion-based case study. We're going to hear about business objectives, we're going to hear about how problems were solved, and we're going to hear about some of the benefits that have been derived from that work. Most of that conversation will be focused on supplier contributions to ESG, or environmental, social, and governance-related initiatives. We'll talk about what's being done to drive impact, and we'll also talk about how that impact is being tracked for the sake of reporting and, of course, recognition of procurement's efforts. Now, before I bring in my guests, I just want to give everybody a quick orientation to the screen and also to how we run these events. So up the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see there's a nice big chat panel. These events truly are live. There won't be any slides. There is no script for today, just notes based on us having had the conversation. And so if you have questions or comments or thoughts as we go through today, go ahead and put them in that panel, and I will be watching as we go through the conversation to see what comes in. The other thing I can share is if you look right down underneath my video, you'll see there's a little happy face emoji button. There's a few different things in there. We've got some hearts, some applauding hands. There we go, thumbs up. That's a great way, even if you don't have a specific comment, you can sort of let our speakers know that you hear them and that you're enjoying what you're hearing. So let me then move on and tell you about who we're going to be hearing from today as our guests come on stage. Today, I'm going to be joined by three guests. We have Burcu Ökman Bektaş. She's the Sustainability Manager at Borusan Holding. We have Emrah Cinbiş, the Head of Purchasing at Borusan Holding, and Özge Guldan, Promena's Head of Product and Customer Success. So Burcu, Özge, and Emrah, thank you both. Thank all three of you for being with me today.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So, hi. Burcu, let me start with you because I have you in sort of my upper corner on the screen here. Can you share a little bit about your current role, just to give people some background before we go into today's case study? And you're actually on mute. Apologies, Burcu.
Apologies from my side. Sure, I will give a brief information about my role and my previous career. Currently, I'm working as Sustainability Manager at Borusan Holding and closely dealing with all ESG issues group-wide with the group companies and also with our each stakeholder. And my previous career was focused on directly in sustainability issues. Thank you very much and welcome, everyone.
Absolutely. All right, Emrah, let me come to you. The same question. Can you share with everybody a little bit about your background and what your current responsibilities are?
Of course. Before starting, I'm sorry, I have a sore throat for my voice. I'm sorry for that. And welcome again, and thank you for joining us today. I'm very delighted to be here today, and I will share our expertise and insights into our journey towards sustainable purchasing at Borusan Group. As Kelly introduced, my name is Emrah Cinbiş, and I am the Central Purchasing Director for Borusan Holding. I have 20 years of experience in procurement, and I worked in indirect and direct sides of procurement. I've been in Borusan Group for 13 years now, and for the last 3 years, I've had the privilege of leading our central purchasing team.
Excellent. And before I bring in Özge, I also want to thank both of you, Burcu and Emrah, for sharing your perspective as practitioners. Case studies, I know from firsthand experience, are very hard to get. People can be really hesitant to share their experience, but there is no better way for the rest of us to learn and share and grow as a community. And so thank you certainly for taking the time today, but more importantly, for being willing to share your story and experience. Now, Özge, let me bring you into this. Talk a little bit about your experience and background.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Hello, everyone. Actually, I'm thrilled to be here with you and with the whole audience as we explore the critical role of procurement in advancing ESG goals. A brief information about myself. Actually, I've been in procurement technology space for more than 15 years, with years of experience in different functions and leadership roles. I currently serve as the head of product and customer management at Promena strategic procurement software. I would like to summarize my responsibility in a single sentence. I'm trying to ensure our customers are happy by helping them to overcome challenges with a good product besides a good service. And I'm really eager to share my insights today. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, because this is a case study, I also think it's relevant to understand a little bit about the two organizations we have involved here. So, Amra, let me start with you. Can you talk a little bit about Borusan as well as how the company has grown over time?
Sure. Borusan was established in 1944, so we are celebrating our 80th birthday today, this year. Borusan has 14,000 employees spread around 3 continents and 11 countries, let's say. And group's main sectors are manufacturing, energy, logistics, automotive, machinery, and power systems. And I would like to give a brief information about the central purchasing role in Borusan Group. As the central purchasing department, we consolidate the common purchasing categories within the group. And our role is to manage the categories, make the tenders, market research, contract management, and do the supplier evaluation and so on. Additionally, we are developing purchasing guidelines and ensuring their implementation across the group companies.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. Happy anniversary on 80 years. That is quite an accomplishment. Now, Özge, on the other side of things, how is it? I mean, we're certainly going to focus on ESG today, but if you don't mind, give us a little bit of sense of how Promena works generally with companies around procurement.
Sure, gladly. Since 2001, actually, Promena drives procurement digital transformation by combining the best of technology with the insights, experience, and actually the creativity of procurement professionals. We offer a source-to-contract solution with a modular approach and provide professional services to leverage our customers' digital procurement transformation, because we know that procurement function acts as a connector within the organizations and drives a change across all stakeholders. So our goal is to help procurement teams to drive savings, efficiency, and transparency while enabling them to communicate and collaborate with their stakeholders. It's the same for the sustainability topic as well. Promena, let me tell a little bit about our company. Actually, Promena is a technology brand of Koçzer, which is a unique company that focuses on purely procurement services like category management, besides digital procurement solutions. And we know that being a part of a procurement company, Promena really differentiates itself from other procurement technology vendors, because we can easily identify the challenges of procurement and generate solutions in addition to reflecting our company's procurement know-how to our customers. But also we know and believe that digital transformation is not only about technology, it's also about people and transforming the processes. That's why we do not only invest in technology, but also invest in people to foster an environment where people can innovate, collaborate, and deliver value to our customers.
Excellent. Well, then you mentioned sustainability. Let's switch gears and dig into the background of the case study. Burcu, I'm going to come to you first. Can you give us a little bit of sense of the background for this project? What were Borusan's internal business drivers for ESG?
Yeah, okay, for sure. For this, let me briefly go back in time because Borusan Holding's sustainability journey is a long-standing journey, and one of the milestones at this journey was the signing of UN Global Compact in 2006. And by this initiative, sustainability efforts gained momentum across the group. And as this journey continues at full speed, we are shaping our future strategy within the framework of sustainable development principles while seeking solutions to today's problems in the light of the values being sensitive to society and environment and the stakeholders that we are interacting with. Maybe a brief recap on the ESG topics might be beneficial for the further discussions. To briefly recap, climate change is now a crisis and being discussed on almost every platform and directly affecting our lives today. As we all know and all aware, the global temperature rise has approached the critical threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius. And to prevent this, the damages caused by climate change, we should be decreasing our emissions globally by 45% by 2030. This means that we have a little time to reach that goal. Furthermore, to reach sustainable development, we need to build a different future for society as a whole. And we know that the future is not too far away. And innovation is an important tool to remain meaningful when this future comes. It's an important, increasingly important topic for us. From this perspective, we centered our sustainability strategy around these three topics, main topics: climate, people, society, and innovation. We call it E-Küp in Turkish because all the letters of these words starting with I.
Oh, that's very clever.
And as I mentioned, our sustainability efforts in these three focus areas address the issue in a much more comprehensive manner. And at the heart of our journey towards sustainability lies a profound recognition of the interconnectedness between our business operations and the world around us. While regulatory compliance serves as a baseline, our commitment to ESG extends far beyond legal obligations. Allow me to share the internal drivers that have propelled us forward. With our climate focus, we are trying to establish a healthy, climate-friendly ecosystem. And with our goal of climate neutral business model, we take concrete steps in combating climate change. We are investing in climate emission reduction technologies and investments. We utilize renewable resources at most in our operations. We are applying circular economy models in our production lines and in our service processes, and trying to reduce our group-wide environmental footprint. And with our human-centered corporate culture, we ensure an environment that embraces equality, diversity, and inclusiveness in the workplace. Moreover, we aim not only to create value for our employees, but also for the entire society. And we are using innovation, our innovation focus, to create an innovative and transformative business models. And we are trying to make collaborations to increase our innovation muscles, let's say. And on voluntary embrace of ESG practices, our voluntary ambition stems from various internal drivers, such as brand reputation, mitigating risks, controlling and managing the risks that are awaiting us in the upcoming future. On the other hand, meeting investor expectations that are currently focusing much more on ESG topics. And to foster employee engagement, because employees are also demanding ESG issues nowadays. and strengthening stakeholder relationships, creating long-term value for all stakeholders lies beyond our sustainability ambitions. I think I've give the main framework behind our sustainability efforts. Thank you for the question.
Sure, no, and you've clearly invested a lot operationally. It's interesting you talked about brand recognition, because in addition to being a good corporate citizen, both on the environmental side and the social side, I would be interested to hear from you how Borusan's decision to invest in ESG is also having a positive impact with current and even prospective customers.
For sure. We understand that in today's marketplace, consumers are not only seeking quality products and services, but also aligning themselves with brands that demonstrate a commitment to society, to social responsibility, to environmentally friendly operations, briefly to sustainability. And high ESG performance, high ESG achievements not only differentiates us in the marketplace, but also enhances our reputation and trust with stakeholders. This also opens door to capital and investment opportunities and drives long-term sustainability and success. So by prioritizing ESG considerations, we gain a distinct competitive advantage edge, positioning ourselves as leaders and guides in our industry and attracting loyal customers, investors, employees who share our values. So embracing sustainability often serves as a catalyst for innovation and operational efficiency within our organization, which also brings us a competitive advantage. Also, ESG initiatives not only enhances our efforts, but also strengthens our relationships with both our current and prospective customers. At the heart of our approach to ESG investment is a profound understanding that consumers are increasingly prioritizing sustainability and social responsibility, as I mentioned, when making purchasing decisions, when deciding to the brands that they choose. So by aligning our business practices with these values, we not only demonstrate our commitment to the planet and its people, but also forge deeper connections with our customer base.
Yeah. Now, last question for you, Borju, on this topic. We've talked about sort of the corporate business drivers, investment policy. We talked about brand reputation and how the external marketplace, as well as investors, see the work that you've done. Let's turn inward for a minute. How are these ESG strategy, vision, mission elements directly connected into the procurement policy of the company?
Yeah, for sure. As I mentioned in the previous questions, we take responsibility for spreading environmental and social impacts created by our existing sustainability understanding among Borusan employees. And this ambition is also for our value chain. And we are working with all our might to carry out efforts. We encourage all stakeholders within our ecosystem to adopt our sustainability approach and to integrate Borusan's sustainable procurement policy into all their decision-making processes. We expect our suppliers to prioritize social, environmental, economic, and ethical issues within the framework of their company's mission, vision, and values, and expect them to create a sustainability strategy that includes goal setting, planning, actions, performance tracking, and reporting elements. The integration of these dimensions to the company's core also brings a sustainable value chain for our whole, when thinking about our whole value chain. And the sustainability strategy that I mentioned that we are expecting from our suppliers should involve actions at environmental, social, and governance layers based on continuous communication and feedback with all internal and external stakeholders. It should also include tracking performance against goals, includes projects and performance indicators indicators should be shared with us. And the responsibilities within the company management should be defined. And we also expect our suppliers to establish a sustainability governance mechanism for this strategy to be in place. On the other hand, we expect them to have effective processes and procedures in place to proactively prevent unethical behaviors such as bribery and corruption, conflicts of interest, facilitation payments, unfair competition, abuse of power, and much more on the ethical side. The presence of ethical standards or code of conduct among our suppliers is a criterion for us. And additionally, we expect them to take into account the United Nations guiding principles on business and human rights. On the social side, these are the main expectations. And in terms of environmental dimension, we expect our suppliers to establish environmental management systems, design processes for managing restricted chemicals, prioritize energy efficiency, renewable energy usage, measuring carbon emissions, and creating a plan to reduce it. We also expect them to develop circular economy practices, focus on waste reduction, waste management, and effectively use natural resources in brief. And these are the main highlights that we reflected in our sustainable supplier management system.
Now, Emma, let me pull you in here because, you know, I certainly, as Borju talks about the overall objectives as well as how that works within procurement, you certainly hear value chain, you hear supplier, you think supplier relationships. Can you speak generally about the types of relationships that Borusan works to form with their suppliers?
Yeah, sure. Actually, our main goal is to set a win-win supply relation with our suppliers. For Borusan, we think the supplier is not selling us goods or services, but also it's a really important business partner that has a significant importance in our business outputs. So with this perspective, we aim to increase the business relationships with the supplier. We take it as a strategical partner. Also in our selection process, supplier selection process, we focus on the supplier's performance and strategy. We choose the suppliers that meets our requirements in this way. And also ESG became the main supplier selection criteria.
Okay.
So we will also evaluate our suppliers accordingly from now.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because you talked about supplier performance, and certainly that's something that procurement manages generally all the time. When you start to focus specifically around the supplier's ESG performance, as opposed to their performance or quality around the products and services they deliver, it becomes a little bit of a different conversation. If Borusan has a supplier that, let's say, is meeting contractual expectations around product, service, quality, delivery, all of those things, but is not necessarily meeting the ESG expectations or what's been discussed, how do you handle those conversations?
Actually, we started our journey last year. We captured a photo, let's say. So from that time, we are trying to develop our suppliers. So we have a system now. We worked on it with Promena. So each of our suppliers can go individually in the system and see their score.
Okay.
So they can benchmark it with overall suppliers, and also they can benchmark it with the category they are in. So we want them to improve their scores, and we are mentoring them this way. But there are some red lines, as Burcu mentioned, bribery, corruption, or something. Yeah. We end our relationship with that kind of suppliers. But our main goal is to improve with the supplier. I mean, we want them to be a part of this ESG journey. So we don't want to end our relationship directly. It is not like an exam. You got 20, you will fail. It's not like that. We want to improve them. So main goal is to improve our ecosystem. But for the new suppliers, we are focused on choosing them with the most compliant one. I mean, we will go on with the ESG proven supplier from now on with the new suppliers. But for the current suppliers, for the coming year, let's say, end of 2024, we will try to improve their scores, and we will evaluate after that.
I appreciate the fact that, certainly you talked about investing in these partnerships, but that among your first steps would be providing them with insight into how they rank. I think providing that source of information becomes an important basis for their willingness to approve their own performance because of how it benefits them with customers beyond Borusan. And yet, I'm sure you've managed through a lot of change management. This is new. We need to roll this out. You mentioned having started this project last year. Do you feel like bringing in a third party, partnering with Promena, helped you speed up the process of getting existing suppliers to a better place or on that journey, as well as to start evaluating the new suppliers that you're bringing in?
Yeah, actually, we can divide it into two phases. We have the system side and we have the framework side. In the framework side, we also work with the third party. And it is important for us to see the global trends, benchmarks, best practices, and it helped us to see that window, let's say, and speed up the process. From the system side, it was a good decision, right decision, let's say, to work with Promena because they tailored the systems for us. And they did it in a very short timeline. So each supplier now can go into the system. It is very important to track this reports. It is the most crucial thing, let's say. So the reporting line is also very powerful with Promena. So we can go and report it. We have dashboards and suppliers can go visit the site. It is sürdürülebilirsatınalma.com and sustainablepurchasing.com. So they can go and download the documents from there and they go into the Promena system and they can see the scorecards and benchmark it with the others. It's very important.
Yeah. Now, Özge, you've been so patient. I want to bring you in and get your perspective on this as well. One of the things that I heard from both Burcu and Emrah is this desire to invest in ESG. And I'd be interested to know from your perspective, how do you think it helped Borusan's overall effort that their ESG program was based on a desire to do things differently versus maybe being forced to by regulations? How did you see that impact their ability to drive change?
Sure. I think sustainability is such a topic that is more related with individuals rather than businesses, as it directly impacts the well-being of people or the environment and the future generations, actually. Therefore, I think that might be the underlying motivation of Borusan's ESG program to be voluntary. In my opinion, voluntary initiatives always help to demonstrate a commitment. I believe Borusan's ESG program helped them to foster a positive organizational culture, as Burcu has already mentioned, and it helped them to create a sense of shared responsibility and leading to more innovative and impactful initiatives. I can clearly say that Borusan procurement team's outstanding effort to align their activities with the company's ESG goals is a clear sign of that culture. And of course, there are also some other benefits, clear benefits of this program. First of all, the basic one, the program enabled Borusan to align strategic ESG objectives with operational processes. And this alignment allows Borusan to lead by example in its industries. and pushing the envelope for environmental and social governance in supply chain. So, and the initiative also facilitated a more structured and objective approach to evaluating suppliers, encouraging them to improve their sustainability practices, as Emrah Bey mentioned. This not only benefits Borusan and Borusan's supply chain by improving supplier engagement, but also contributes to a broader environmental and social goal. So the success of this program has, Burcu Hanım said, it acted as a catalyst. I surely agree with that. The success of the program has acted as a catalyst for further innovation within all parties. Even Promena has taken the advantage of that, actually, because we were able to closely observe the challenges of the team and had the chance to generate solutions to these challenges. From this perspective, from our perspective, Promena's perspective, we believe that these new solutions will also benefit different companies and thus increase Promena's contribution to sustainability in supply chain. And finally, I must say that we are really proud of working with companies like Borusan, initiating voluntary efforts because they show their willingness and commitment to sustainability, to a better world. And this approach completely aligns with our commitment to not only for the sake of the supply chain or the business, but also for a better world.
Yeah. Now, before we start to wind down, because I know we're coming to time, it wouldn't be a good case study if we didn't have some lessons learned at the end. So maybe let me get some from both sides. Özge, if I can start with you, what were some of the things that you and your team learned going through this project, either at the overall level or with individual suppliers?
Sure. The project has provided really valuable insights into the suppliers' actual ESG practices, because these insights are really crucial to companies for making informed decisions about sustainability and responsible sourcing, actually. At the end of the assessment process, ESG risks and opportunities have been identified, which means that identifying the risks will allow and Borusan to be more capable of proactive risk management and to determine the opportunities to improve sustainability practices within its supply chain. Because supply chain ESG initiatives do not just enhance the ESG performance, but also the operational business performance. During the project, we've seen that the supplier engagement is very important, because making suppliers a part of this process and supporting them and triggering them with notifications, emails, phone calls, etc., helped us to complete the assessment process in a short period of time, like maybe two.
And apologies, we seem to have lost Özge. Emrah, let me come to you, because I was going to ask for your perspective on lessons learned as well. What would you add to what Özge shared, either at the overall program level or with individual suppliers, individual ESG objectives within that broad umbrella?
Well, the perception of ESG is different from supplier to supplier. We knew that, but I didn't believe that the gap would be so much higher. I mean, the gap is very wide, and the global companies or the export-oriented companies' ESG scores are much better than the local ones. And we want our suppliers to believe in this ESG project also, and they are also keen on working here. And also, what I learned is the communication with the supplier is very important, and it is taking too much time. So you have to organize it very well, because they really sometimes do not understand the questions in the scorecards, so they don't know how to act, and they should understand it. So you should invest some time for them.
Excellent. Well, this has been a fascinating opportunity to learn about the ESG project at Borusan, and then certainly to hear about the role that Promena and that team and their solution was able to play in the change that you've driven. A few things that I certainly take away from today's conversation. Information is incredibly powerful, and sharing that information with suppliers so that they can learn and that helps them drive change is clearly incredibly important. Going into this with a sense of passion, Borju, I can hear from you as you talk about it, the passion company-wide that must accompany this effort. I can only imagine how helpful that is. Certainly there are change elements. I'm sure there were roadblocks, there were questions and frustrations that came up internally, but I think that voluntary decision to commit to an ESG program is important. And the last thing I think I take away that connects many of the things we talked about today is that it's one thing to talk about ESG as a big overall program. It's another thing to get into the details. And so, Emra, to your point about ESG meaning different things to different suppliers, having it look different based on the specific objective that's in question, or Borju, all of those different things you talked about Borusan trying to achieve. Everyone can understand the big picture, but being able to effectively manage those details, I think, is so incredibly critical. So I would like to thank all three of you really for your time and your willingness to share today. Borju, Emra, and Ozge, of course. I would also like to thank everyone who joined us live to hear this conversation, as well as people that will listen in later or watch later on once the event is available on demand. Thank you for taking part in today's webinar. And whether you're in Europe and it's the end of your day, or you're in the Eastern time and it's just the beginning, have a terrific rest of your day.